Hello, my name is 3Sheep Trenchcoat, but you can call me 3Sheep. Welcome to the first long-form video of my channel. If you enjoy it, I'm going to be yapping about some character and world building lore. In the world I'm working on, it's very similar to our Earth, except for the fact places and terrain are different from how they are formed in our Earth. The main story I'm working on with my characters takes place in a location where Cascade County, Montana would normally be, a location with a large forest surrounding it. This forest is the home to 5 broken portals that were used as interdimensional gateways to access areas called cities that were home to several humanoid species created by the gods of this world. They were named the Wizard City, the Skeleton City, the Metal City, the City of Angels, and the City of Paradise, now called the Forgotten City. These cities still exist, but are cut off from the gateway to the world. But in the forest, they stand in magic still leached in the area, which caused many of the creatures to evolve and change rapidly. It also means any species that uses magic to their advantage will be much stronger in the area of the forest. The main species the god created were wizards, skeletons, angels, watermen, also known as the fish people, and the cloaked. Each species lived in their respected cities and would travel between cities to trade, congregate, and overall share cultures and ideas between each other. They lived in peace for a long while before a war began due to the wizards' influence spreading and the skeletons rejecting their ideas due to uncertainty. Before I go into detail on the war, I'd like to first explain what the species are and how they work. First of all is wizards. Wizards have 2 main magic sources, and they are a gland in their neck that allows them to cast spells vocally, or a bone on the underside of their palm, which is most often located on their right hand, that allows them to cast their magic through their hands. The more powerful or destroyed or cursed the magic, the more messed up or marked their source. Many wizards get tattoos on their source areas to show status or power. These wizards may share a rare sigil birthmark on their body, often on their face. There's 3 important historical wizards that really define what happened to our species over the centuries, and they are the Drow 3. Subtitles, the first wizard created by the gods, harnessed magic akin to plants and foliage. He has a gland and a bone in his right hand, and has made the cave where the city of wizards is located hospitable, and built the first locations. He was sealed in the lake of the Skeleton City for spreading the magic of wizards and their power throughout the realms, ending up taking control of the now City of the Forgotten, now being named due to him laying it to waste, in the Metal City, ruling with a heavy iron fist until they were either destroyed or beyond recovery. So there also began a war between the skeletons and wizards after trying to claim their city. He lost the rule due to being sealed away and was the first to end up in the lake. He misses his own city and feels angry with how it was just changed after his leave. Nikotal was the first wizard to harness the magic of all-knowing. He has the ability to access any knowledge he wills from across space and time. Accessing magic from the future has aged him physically quite a lot and distorted his appearance. He was very secretive with what he knew, but he used his prediction to procure a home in a different realm from the City of Wizards for his future grandson by blood, Clint. His knowledge was considered far too powerful with the extent he had, and was sealed in the lake of the Skeleton City for fear of him causing harm because of how much he could see or potentially alter events. The realm he made a home in is where the forest is currently located. Nirkin was the first wizard to harness the magic of resurrection after making a secretive deal with the first god of death. He used his magic to raise as many powerful wizards back from the dead in a move previously seen as impossible. Nirkin used these wizards to aid him and the others in furthering the war between the skeletons and wizards. He also was able to brew potions with this magic, which he would sell to desperate wizards on the brink of death in exchange for money, trades, or their magic, making him more powerful. He was sealed in the lake for fear he would worsen the war further and follow in the footsteps of Seville if he kept making deals. Wizards in appearance look somewhat similar to human beings in size and shape, but there are some anatomical differences between the two. Wizards have long pointed ears that somewhat resemble bat ears, which can vary in the angle they sit at, from more downward pointed ears to horizontal on the head. Wizards also have more than one tongue if they rely on voice casting their spells, and have a gland in their throat. And even the useless gland also have a more pronounced Adam's apple, which applies to all genders of wizards. Some who rely on their hand casting may have longer fingers or hypermobility in their hands or arms, as well as more bony fingers. Their facial structure is very similar to humans, though many of them have longer faces and more pronounced areas in spots like their cheekbones or more second eyes in appearance. On their skull, their teeth reach farther up, and the holes for them as their eyes are much larger and longer. This isn't easy to see on their faces when they're alive, aside from a slight uncanny feeling that may be experienced when seeing how wide their eyes can open or appear, or how their smiles might look a little strange. Both wizards have a skin tone that is pale in appearance due to their birthplace being a realm entirely comprised of a cave where most of the light they get is from the plants and lanterns around the city, as high in the sun. Those wizards will also have more prominent rib cages to protect their lungs and heart, as well as a small round organ hidden somewhere between them or behind them, which is what controls a wizard's magic and directs it to their magic source. It's located towards their back and on the left of their spines. Stabbing or damaging this organ can immediately kill a wizard. It's possible to be born without this organ, but it can cause issues for the wizard the longer they live. And the skin might look discolored, or they might lack the ability to heal themselves as well as use magic. Aside from their ribs, most bones on the skeleton are incredibly brittle and may break easily under some conditions. Their species hasn't had a need for stronger bones, as their magic has protected them from rendering the need for them to evolve that way very small. The next species I'm going to discuss is skeletons. Skeletons are a species that appear to look like a human skeleton does, but with often taller builds and longer spines. Some skeletons have tall horns or long, almost tusk-like teeth in appearance. These teeth grow out in the same way that beavers do and can stay the same size over time through use of tools or rough treatment from the person who has them. Skeletons are very gender neutral anatomically and do not have sexual dimorphism in their anatomy. They have what can be described as ghost organs, where they have the ability to eat, drink, think, and exist like human beings can, but don't necessarily need these processes. They have these organs, but they don't serve an immediate purpose and are near completely see-through. Aiming to harm a skeleton through damaging these organs will not affect them, as the only way a skeleton can die is through means of breaking their bones, which can severely injure them. Skeletons are not innately born with magic like wizards are, but can use books and magical items to cast spells if need be. They are inherently a very peaceful species and have a close bond with the watermen, who they see as allies and close trade partners. There are several large bodies of water in the city they live in, which are also contained in an area akin to a cave. These watermen took refuge in one of the bodies of water and were welcomed by the skeleton people after the water people's city, the City of Paradise, was destroyed during the war. The other body of water was used after the gods needed a space to put their creations that they felt went too far with their powers and had to be sealed away. The drowned three for a very long time were the only things in this lake. The skeleton people document a lot of their history and keep it safe in an archive, and it also mentions several skeletons who were important to the city. One of the skeletons documented in this archive was Ophrich, the first skeleton created by the gods. He was incredibly kind and forgiving and cared about his people in the city. He established the trust between the watermen and the skeletons due to the fact he befriended a waterman who saved his life. These two remained friends and set an example of peace for the city until Ophrich passed when the war started from trying to protect the skeletons of the city from a sudden attack from a resurrected group of wizards. A large statue of him sits in the center of the skeleton archives to remind them of the skeleton who brought their city to life and tried to protect them with his last breath. I don't want the video to be too long, so I won't go into too much detail about the next three species, but the angels are a harpy-like humanoid species that reside in a city that is completely hidden in a blanket of clouds in their realm. Their city became increasingly hard to enter during the period during and after the war, where they locked it down so nobody could enter and nobody could exit. The rulers of the city rule like dictators and strive for only perfection in the angels of the city, to the point where any angel's broken rules and deformations or any problem that inhibits their flight are cast aside. These people are more in appearance like men with bird faces or somewhat feathered men than angels with just wings are. The watermen are largely those species of fish-like people that can mainly be found in the skeleton city. They were mainly wiped out during the war due to wizard efforts, and they escaped through the realm gates to the world, where they blended in with human beings and made offspring with them over time, leading to the watermen becoming much more human in appearance after generations. The cloaked are a species that resides in the Metal City, where they were an incredibly wealthy and revered group for the war. Many of their kind were draped and cloaked in beautiful adornments of precious metals and sparkling stones. After the war, their city was incredibly damaged and their economy fell to ruin, leading to many members of the city covering themselves in the scrap metal and fashioning intricate costumes out of it, dreaming of how their city used to be. For the final section of this video, the war. The war began festering when Sethil began to go realm to realm, spreading the influence of magic and manipulating the leaders of the other cities to make deals and spread the magic of the wizards through the other cities in exchange for riches, allyship, or power. When he went to Ophirik of the Skeleton City to bargain for power from the god in exchange for their magic, Ophirik refused, seeing distrust and hidden intentions in Sethil. Sethil became irate when he didn't strike a deal with the skeletons, as he needed their power to take over the rest of the realms completely. In his anger, he declared war silently on the skeletons and started taking more subtle actions like slowly limiting trade and travel of skeletons wizards throughout the cities, which would deplete their supplies of any important items they used and would make them more vulnerable. Months after he stopped trade and when he saw fit, he launched a small attack on the skeleton city after meeting a wizard Nirkan, who aided him by resurrecting past wizards to grow their numbers. He used a few of these wizards to attack the city, knowing Ophirik would try and save his people. He used the opportunity to assassinate him with a spell to crack and break his bones. The spell was later written in a war grimoire, a spellbook the wizards used containing harmful and damaging spells for only use in situations like this, which Sethil had aided in writing through a skeleton who hated his own people and craved power, and Anmir. Sethil was able to convince the angels and many remaining wizards to attack the city of Paradise where the watermen lived and to attempt to separate the skeletons and their allies to weaken them. This backfired when the watermen went to the skeleton city and were allowed to live in the city when theirs was destroyed, allowing them to aid the skeletons by teaching them how to craft spears and fight alongside to push back the wizards. The war was halted and the wizard retreated when Nirkan was sealed in the lake after Sethil, leaving to his spells and keeping the resurrected wizards' life to diminish, to the wizards' numbers dwindling and making them retreat and surrender. Many wizards currently still hate the skeletons and fish people and there is tension, but the skeletons have been able to rebuild the damage from the war and still receive aid from the fish people. That's all I have for this video. If I make another long video, I might go into detail on specific characters rather than some of the overall lore of the world, but I think that sums up a lot of the ideas in my head. If you have any questions about my world, I'd be happy to answer. Thank you so much.